And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We love to help you win. As we say, in any marketplace, we want to help you avoid commission-based advice and help you be a smart consumer, make you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline number in your phone at some point. You may need it, 813-750-0550. You can call or text that line. It's an off-air number, 813-750-0550. Call or text the hotline. Also, consumerqb.com is the best resource for you. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors on the program. So we got a great lineup for you today. On the second half of the show, we're going to have Nate Ginter in the house, Chief Technology Officer of Vine IT, and he brought some really cool stories to talk about. Here's an interesting thing to ponder. El Salvador divided over making Bitcoin legal tender. I don't know how I'd feel about that either, right? And then some interesting cybersecurity stuff as well. We have Patrick Smith as well on the program as well, attorney at law, attorneypatricksmith.com here on the program. Also got a great radio show we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Before we jump into that, I want to thank one of our sponsors here. We got Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. So if you want to feel energized, hydrated, and replenished, this is a safe and effective way to restore your body's crucial systems with great vitamins and nutrients and enabling them to perform at optimal conditions. Multiple Bay Area locations, or they will come to you. Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. All right, we like to feature our real estate listings live on air on the program. We help our sellers profit more by doing that. And we got some great opportunities. This one here at 100 Oakmont Lane in Bel Air just hit the market. This is a hot condo listing that we just put on the market. 100 Oakmont Lane, number 611, unit number 611. And this is a great opportunity. $1 million views from this property overlooking the Gulf of Mexico, the community pool, large family room, spacious bedrooms as well. And it's minutes to the Gulf Beach. It's got a large patio as well overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. Also, another $1 million listing of ours, 117 14th Street in Bel Air. This is a gorgeous property, double lot, pool home, right here in Bel Air Beach, Pinellas County. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, almost 2,800 square feet, private pool, gourmet kitchen, jetted bathtub, temperature-controlled wine closet, covered lanai. And the best part is you walk out, you walk to the end of the street, and you're on the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of beautiful Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, welcome in, Patrick Smith. Welcome to the program.
Brandon, thank you. And a couple other selling points on those properties, just so you know. You'd also be my neighbor.
Nice,
if you bought one of those, because we're right down the road at Indian Rocks Beach, and we can see Bel Air from our backyards.
Man, that's awesome. What a great place.
It's a beautiful location.
And I was driving by. I'm taking a new listing after the show today. I'm going down to Madeira Beach, and I'm taking a new listing, a duplex on the water over there for like $855,000. But I came out and I had lunch over there at the New Caddies. What a cool restaurant that is! What
a great location, and the New Caddies is amazing. Mad Beach is one of our favorite locations. My son had a skim competition there last year, and we loved every minute of it.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks for coming in. AttorneyPatrickSmith.com is the website, by the way. Patrick Smith, longtime attorney in the Tampa Bay area, and you got your own radio show as well, 8 to 9 a.m., 860 The Answer, 93, 570, and 910 coming up too.
Yeah, our first inaugural broadcast will be September 18th.
Nice.
And it's the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, where you can call in and have your legal questions answered from 8 to 9 every Saturday morning.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So are you pretty diverse with your cover, like what you cover, your specialties?
Yeah, my primary practice area day-to-day is wills, trust, estate, asset protection planning, and I work with a circle of attorneys who provide various other areas of practice, and we cover with those other attorneys a wide array of practice areas as well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things. People have these situations that come up in life. They get something posted on their doors like, oh wow, how do I handle that? Or different asset protection situations, as you mentioned. And one of the things that gets me over the years, I've been almost 9 years now on air, is people. They put more time into planning their vacations or their fantasy football picks, and then they do into their estate plans and then their asset protection.
Well, that's right, because they know they're going to go on vacation. They know fantasy football is going to happen, but they're not going to die.
Yeah.
And no one ever plans to die. And so at the end of the day, it's one of those situations where that's when we call it planning. And I was actually talking with someone the other day about making an ad calling it the estate reacting firm. Where you don't do estate planning, we do estate reacting, sort of making a mockery when you don't put everything in place properly and everything set up. That's why we do it ahead of time. That's why it's called planning, is you're putting it in advance to protect your family. It's a good example of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, exactly. And people, it's because it's not them that's going to lose out in a lot of cases. It's their loved one, it's their kids, it's their relatives. They're going to be in a situation where they're fighting over a certain ring or some kind of family heirloom. But if you meet up with Patrick Smith, he can help you get all this in line before it happens.
Well, especially with blended families. I mean, when you see more and more blended families, especially like up in the villages where we also have an office location, and it's a situation there where the real estate becomes critical.
Yeah.
You'll see situations where, mom and dad were married for 60 years. Mom dies, dad's a widower, lonely, in the village square one night, finds someone special, remarries.
Oh, wow.
And doesn't take the appropriate planning.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden he has homestead property, and under Florida state constitutional law, the spouse now has rights to that property that everyone may be unaware of. So it's important to be aware of those rights and to make sure you put more in black and white and codify your true intent, because without that, the state will step in and by default pick the outcome for you, and that may not be what your family wanted. Yeah,
it's costly too. Probate is costly, isn't it?
Probate can be extremely expensive. We always tell clients it's anywhere from 3 to 10% as far as fees, and then in a time frame, it's 6 to 14 months on average, but it is getting longer in most counties.
Yeah. Okay, so we have attorney Patrick Smith in studio, attorneypatricksmith.com, and we may come back to more estate planning, wills, trust, all that kind of stuff talk. I want to get right to one of our hottest topics right now. A lot of people are wondering what's going on with the foreclosure moratorium.
Yeah, absolutely, and we are, especially because there are several properties that we have pending eviction cases, and as of late August, the Supreme Court actually overturned the federal eviction moratorium, basically saying that if that was going to happen, the CDC was not the appropriate arm for that. It was going to have to be congressional action, and this was a 6-3 decision with the more leftward-leaning justices dissenting, and it was on the heels of a 5-4 decision that upheld a previous moratorium where basically the justices kind of indicated, well, it's about to sunset on its own, so we might as well just let that happen. But the 6-3 decision makes it clear that Congress is going to have to act. And based on precedent, it looks like there's going to be pretty much gridlock with any sort of congressional action. So as far as any further moratorium, it doesn't appear that there will be one immediately forthcoming.
Yeah, and it's a situation where we got two different foreclosure situations, eviction situations. One is with federal loans, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. You've got that. Can you speak to that? And then also landlord tenants.
Well, it just depends. I mean, it's going to be, so you have the federal laws, and then you have your state-by-state laws. When you get into the state-by-state situation, that's where you have it treated differently. I mean, this relief effort was an attempt to treat the stations in the areas where the breakouts of COVID-19 were more heavily populated.
Right.
And that's what people are running into, is sort of the moratorium is just sort of a blanket moratorium. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to be sort of a conflict of laws issue potentially between the federal laws, as you've indicated, and the state laws. There's a potential butting of heads there.
Right. And it's a situation where if you're a landlord, you've got 7-8 properties, that's your income. That's my business. If I'm a retired, whatever, pick a contractor, et cetera, attorney, and I've got to build up this portfolio of properties. I said, hey, I'm going to retire early at 45, 55 years old, whatever that might be. That's my income. And then you got government bodies or state legislators in some cases stepping in and say, well, you can't really evict these tenants, but then the bank is still going to collect from you.
Right. Or even in some situations, it's not even a tenant. It may just be a squatter.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, I mean, you have these squatters' rights essentially, and you're not able to serve these eviction notices or ejectment actions at this point. And you're right. as the property owner, you're still being held to the fire for your responsibilities. And so there is a bit of a catch-22 there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you have a situation like that, adverse possession, aka squatters, how does that play out? What are some of the stories that you've seen or heard maybe over your time?
So over the years, adverse possession, it's very rare just because of the length of time it takes to adversely acquire property by possession. It has to be open and notorious. There's all those rules regarding that. The stories where that's successful are few and far between, I think. And I think it's more the stuff of legend and lore. The good cases kind of involve the situations where people are on the property, they're occupying it unlawfully, and they somehow injure themselves and wind up suing the property owner for their unlawful use of the property. I mean, those are sort of the ones that make you scratch your head and chuckle, like, why am I working so hard?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you see these situations where, it seems like the property owner is just constantly taking the brunt of all these negative situations. And the lesson for the property owner is, of course, to make sure that you're properly insured. If you're running rentals, make sure you have them properly structured in LLCs for asset protection analysis purposes. So there's just a lot of great things you can do to protect yourself as a property owner, but you definitely want to put those in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way to divide ownership interest up as well. The LLCs, you see a lot of people doing that as, 50% or a third type ownership. So let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more with attorney Patrick Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to dive deeper into some of these areas of real estate, estate planning and tax planning. Trust is a big topic I want to come back to as well here on the show. Plus later on the program, Nate Ginter in the house, Chief Technology Officer with Vine IT. Going to talk about some of the latest cybersecurity threats as well. Interesting story out of the Wall Street Journal here on the program. Plus, we have our feel-good story of the day. Live music venue is serving meals to New Orleans residents without power. So we'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show. We greatly appreciate you hanging out with us here on the radio, spending some time supporting the local economy by supporting our show. We set it up almost 9 years ago as a consumer advocate-based program, 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice here to help you understand your buying decisions, make you more street smart. So we greatly appreciate you spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We have Patrick Smith in studio, attorney Patrick Smith, that is, attorneypatricksmith.com as well here on the program, coming right back with him. Before we do, we like to feature our real estate listings so we can help our sellers profit more and sell faster, getting exposure for the property. So we got a hot listing here at 5602 Land O'Lakes Boulevard. This is a commercial asset, $1.8 million price tag that we've got listed, almost 7 acres up in Land O'Lakes. Amazing opportunity for builders, developers, entrepreneurs. You got frontage on Lake Helen. Now, the current zoning is C2, so you got general commercial use there, water and sewer available, and you got an expansion right there off of US 41 up in North Hillsborough County. It's kind of close to Pasco County there. Great opportunity for real estate here in Tampa Bay. Beautiful properties. available. We got 1333 County Line Road, 1333 County Line Road in Spring Hill. Another commercial property, kind of sticking with the commercial theme for this segment. Close to 5 acres. You're close to the Veterans Expressway, literally about a 1 or 2 minute drive to the vet. You've got a large strip mall right next to you, Avalon, Villages of Avalon, Publix as well, shopping plaza, and you got an existing building that could be there, and potentially it could be pulled down because it's going to have an eminent domain proceedings, is what I'm told. Coming up soon on that. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got attorney Patrick Smith in studio. I wanted to go back to that topic of trust. A lot of people misunderstand them. There's all different types of trust. Can you kind of give us your 101 on that?
Yeah, what I tell clients with trust and with estate planning in general, it's a spectrum. And it's a matter of finding where on the spectrum does your family achieve optimization. In other words, when we sit down with you and go over the particulars of your family, what estate planning model or what trust model is going to get the most real dollars to your intended beneficiaries as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Right.
So there's lots of different types of trust. By far the most popular is the living revocable trust, which is sort of the entry-level trust. Living meaning it's in existence now, and revocable meaning changeable. You have full control. It's like a fancy will that skips probate. And in addition to that, because it's revocable, you can put assets into it or take it out just like your own personal safe. But the moment you enter eternity, everything in that trust will pass to your beneficiaries without the probate process.
Yeah. Save thousands of dollars in probate, save lots of headaches.
Absolutely. And a lot of things that get overlooked with the trust advantages, in addition to avoiding probate, is the fact that the trust provides something called incapacity planning. So let's say you don't die right away, but let's say you own multiple rental properties and you're in a coma or you develop dementia. You have in the trust the ability to designate a successor trustee to take over and captain your family's financial ship to steer it clear of, turmoil during those critical days.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. I've heard also people talking about getting creative with, buying real estate properties. You got trust there. And then also I've heard people talk about putting even personal assets like vehicles or boats into a trust.
Automotive trust. So we have clients who are like automotive collectors who have collections that are quite extensive. We'll create what we call an automotive trust just to house the automobiles in those. And we like that because of the liability associated with automobiles. I mean, when you drive around an auto, you're driving around a potential liability generator.
Right.
So why would you put the automobile in the same trust with the rest of the family trust assets?
Right.
You're just exposing it to that liability. It wouldn't make much sense. Okay. So you could create an own trust for the auto collection that would hold the autos and keep everything completely separate.
So you think of it from an asset class in a lot of cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not something typically you do with your day-to-day runners. This is for the collectors of the world. And at the end of the day, if you have that sort of collection, it's certainly worth looking into.
What about anything outside like firearms or other collectibles?
Yeah, I mean, Title II firearm trust are definitely something that we do, and that's become more and more popular with regulation on that. And it's not just the firearms that get owned. There are certain types of suppressors and explosive devices, if you want to own them legally. To own them and pass them along to certain people in certain states, you have to have this Title II firearm trust established.
Yeah, that's important. All right, and if you just joined us, we're talking with Patrick Smith here on the program, attorney Patrick Smith. And what are some of the other top misnomers, things that happen on a daily basis? When you're talking to people, it's like, there's these, I just seem to find in different industries, there's all these different misnomers, like down payment and real estate, et cetera.
So the biggest thing we hear is my out-of-state will is no good in Florida.
Okay.
I hear that one all the time, and that's not true. If your out-of-state will was good in New York or Kentucky or wherever, it's fine here. It may not be the most optimally efficient model because it probably has your residency wrong, and it may not meet Florida's self-proving requirements, which just means it's going to have to jump through some extra hoops when you've passed. But again, it could be a perfectly valid will. We do complimentary reviews of out-of-state documents or old Florida documents, by the way. I say the other common misstep that I see is this sort of brutish strategy where someone will want to do their estate planning by just adding a child's name to all of their assets, putting them on the home, on the bank account, on the car.
Right.
And, the risk there you run is, of course, gift tax exposure because the present interest annual gift tax exemption is only $15,000 per person per year without some adequate planning. And in addition to that, once the child's name is on all these assets, if that child is involved in a divorce, auto accident, bankruptcy, Now the parents' assets are being drug into that.
Right.
So it can trigger liability exposure, and on a homestead property, if the child already has their own homestead, the parent can lose part or all of their homestead exemption, which can
Wow.
be a big hit on the taxes and creditor
Yeah.
protection. So I think that's the other most common misstep I see, is this sort of Brutus strategy where you just add a child's name
Yeah.
directly to the assets.
Wow, that could really, that's some great advice. That could really help save some people a lot of money for that, because it is a common thing. Oh, I'll just add them to the title.
Hear it all the time.
Yeah, but that's really opening you up liability wise. There's all kinds of scenarios. Bar fight, you never know what could happen. People get sued.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this last night over our family dinner table, because I have a son who's about to turn 16, and he says he wants to put the vehicle in his name, and I was like, God bless you. That would be amazing. I'm pretty sure you can't do that as a minor, but I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, I wish that it could be in just your name, so you're your own liability. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Dad's going to have to probably be on the title with you, and we're going to have to take out insurance, which he's going to pay for, and he's pretty nervous about that bill. I said I would be nervous too.
Yeah. It's funny too. My daughter is about to turn 16, and in similar conversations with her, and we were telling her about her insurance. She says, "You have to pay that every year?" Yeah, it's a renewable. Every year it's going to renew. That's a premium.
And my favorite was when we sat him down to go over, there comes that point where you sit down and you kind of go over finances, just to help the kids kind of realize, money's a real thing and you have to budget for it and things like that. And I feel like it's something my parents drilled into me. And I remember when I was getting my first mortgage, my dad called me up and he said, they're going to try to sell you on some adjustable rate products and things like that. He goes, you go 30-year fixed. That's all you do. And I'll never forget the way he said it. Was like, that's what Christians do.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was like that was the only option.
Yeah.
But I just find that that's something that I think this upcoming generation, they're not as directed to fiscal responsibility as
Yes.
I was. And I think that's something we need to get back to, is not spending money you don't have and savings and that kind of thing. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding how it works, where it comes from, how
and in
the
real
dollar
estate,
bills.
real estate's a great example. I tell my son, I said, look, when you go to buy a piece of real estate, don't just plan on the purchase price. I said, you got property taxes every year. You're going to have insurance on that. You're going to have maintenance. You got to budget for all that. So don't ever just look at the purchase price.
Yeah.
That's a great way to step in a bear trap.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you just joined us, Attorney Patrick Smith in studio, attorneypatricksmith.com. You can check him out online. And so let's see. So we talked about real estate. We covered the moratorium. We talked a little bit about estate and tax planning, wills and trust. Anything else that we didn't touch on?
Well, the new Power of Attorney Act, I say the new Power of Attorney Act, it was October 1 of 2011 was when it went into effect.
Okay.
And a lot of people have old power of attorneys that technically were grandfathered in, but I strongly advise if you have a power of attorney that was pre-October 1 of 2011, get with your estate planning attorney. If you don't have one, we would be happy to give you a complimentary consultation and have it reviewed, make sure it's current, and because it's a great example. If that power of attorney is not accepted at the time you need it, you're left with a guardianship.
Right.
And our fee for a power of attorney at our office is $95.
Wow.
A guardianship is going to cost in the thousands of dollars typically. So it's a great way to prevent a expensive and kind of emotional process for the family, because a guardianship is a formal stripping of rights in court of a loved one's ability to make decisions for themselves. The guardianship, the power of attorney sort of saves them that dignity by taking care of it ahead of time.
Yeah, it reminds me of a case I heard of in Chicago. I think the judge stripped the parent from the daughter or the sibling, the kid, over vaccine status. It was like the first in the country. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, we got about a minute left. So, final thought. My final thought would be for our listeners out there: if you heard of anything on the show, reach out, text the hotline 813-750-0550. You can text trust or will or estate planning, whatever you want to do, and we'll put you in touch with Attorney Patrick Smith. Reach out to 813-750-0550. Just pull out your smartphone, text the word estate plan or whatever you want to text more information on, and include your email address. We'd love to put you in touch with Attorney Patrick Smith. You can also visit his website, attorneypatricksmith.com, 813-750-0550. And thanks for coming in.
Brandon, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks for coming. So, great stuff there. Lots of educational stuff, lots of ways to avoid a lot of the problems and the pitfalls that you find in those places. Added somebody to title. I mean, yeah, you got to really be thankful or thoughtful when doing these types of actions. All right, coming up, we got Nate Ginter on the program, Chief Technology Officer at Vine IT, and our feel-good story of the day later in the program as well. Live music venue serving hot meals to New Orleans residents that are without power. We'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Nate, you got some good stuff here.
I do. So did James print out the stories for you there?
Kids under the age of 18 will now be forbidden from playing video games during the school week. They'll be allotted 1 hour of playtime from 8 to 9 p.m. on weekends and national holidays, but that's it. There was a previous law in the books since 2019 that had restricted kids to 90 minutes of gaming per school day and 3 hours per day on the weekend. But that law was more lightly enforced. And from what we're told, this new law will be enforced more seriously by the state.
So what kind of enforcement are we actually talking about here?
So we'll have to wait and see a bit to know for sure. But from what we're told, the Chinese Communist Party will be counting on internet service providers and tech companies to track the playing time of individual users by name and report infractions to the government. Keep in mind, these companies are really private only in name. The government there has total control over every industry. So they'll be able to access all the user data. For example, Chinese gaming company Tencent uses facial recognition software to verify people's age and identity. And the government is reportedly considering using that facial monitoring software to keep an eye on kids' gaming activity.
That is the issue.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Nathan,
It really is. Say again?
I was just getting a mic check from Nathan.
Yep, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Yeah, there you go. Bring it down. Yep, perfect.
Can Nathan hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear Jose?
Yeah, I can hear Jose. Hey, Jose.
And pull it slightly that way.
Slightly that way? Okay.
No, not away from you, just to your left. There
Yeah,
you
trying to get that camera.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, I
gotcha,
just don't want the
gotcha.
mic in your face.
Gotcha. It's not one to sit there. It's one to
That's
retract.
good right there. Just, yeah.
Yep, okay. Yeah. How about that? Is that better?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon, let me
Yeah.
hear you real quick.
1, 2, 3.
Brandon Rhymes,
1,
Consumer
2, 3.
Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team. All right, we got a good segment coming up here. James, this will be a good show to play on both. This will be good for Sunday. Yeah, because Patrick had really good content in the first one, and
Oh yeah, dude, he
You're
was fascinating to listen to.
I'm ready.
Okay, everybody stand by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Greatly appreciate all that reach out to the program. We love it when we hear from our listeners, our viewers out there. Maybe you're watching our TV show, following us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Over 1,200 videos on our YouTube channel now. And we greatly appreciate all the folks that call into our hotline, 813-750-0550.
You used to call me on my cell
Call or text the
phone.
hotline anytime, 813-750-0550. We'd love to help you win in your real estate deals, of course, as well. If you're buying, selling, or investing right here in Tampa Bay, we got some hot listings we would like to feature here on the show as well. Some really good opportunities for buying assets here in Tampa Bay. Some great great rental opportunities as well here in Tampa Bay. 3613 Cabana Court in Palm Harbor. This is a beautiful property, by the way. It's got nice open lighting coming in, great rental property, perfect for a Airbnb opportunity or short-term rental potentially. Lots of natural lighting, and you got 3613 Cabana Court in Palm Harbor. Nice kitchen, beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. Great listing opportunity. And also 117 14th Street in Bel Air. This is $1 million listing that we've got in Bel Air. Beautiful property here. 3613 Cabana Court in Palm Harbor. This is Bel Air Beach, actually. 117 14th Street in Bel Air Beach. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,800 square feet, private pool, gourmet kitchen, jetted air bathtub, temperature-controlled wine closet, covered lanai. And the best part, you walk to the end of the street, and you're on the beaches of Tampa Bay. You got the Sugar Sand waters, dolphin-filled waters, that is, and Sugar Sand beaches. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy.
All right, so we got Nate Ginter in the house. Nate, Chief Technology Officer, Vine IT. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, Brandon, good to be here, my friend.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So interesting stories out of, in the tech sector, of course, to kind of preface that. In the tech sector, Nate is your expert for all things tech-related. VineIT.com is the website. So let's start right here with the El Salvador. They're divided over making Bitcoin the legal tender.
So, well, they're not divided. They've done it. So the country has actually now accepted Bitcoin, the electronic cryptocurrency. We classify it as an asset here, and so what that means is basically, obviously you can pay for things. You see places where they accept Bitcoin for lunch down at Ferg's, for example. The fact of the matter is with that, if you go to pay for something, you're actually selling an asset. So you technically owe the government the capital gains tax on the cryptocurrency that you're selling.
Wow.
So it's as a fiduciary kind of means of paying for things in this country, it's not the most financially friendly vehicle known to man. So what El Salvador has done is classified it officially as a government accepted currency. You can pay your taxes with it. It's the same thing as an El Salvadorian dollar, and that's caused. It was funny. I always wait to see how the news is covering things.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gives me a glimpse into, I wonder who's behind, some of these stories. The big story was that, there was a massive crash in the value of Bitcoin after El Salvador adopted it. The truth is it did go down 19%. It's regained almost all of that value. It's been hovering around 50,000 per Bitcoin, and it's still there. So it's interesting to see one of those things. One of the things Edward Snowden, the famous cyber leaker, had actually talked about. He's a very interesting guy, a great insight into tech, actually, if you ever listen to any of his broadcasts. And he talked about how the value is likely to go way up, because what it's going to do, there's a couple of other countries in line to adopt it as their currency. They just can't find anything stable to tether their economies to, especially the worst of the nations as far as fiduciary responsibility. They're basically admitting, hey, we can't figure this out ourselves.
Like Venezuela?
Right. Venezuela is one of them that's on the list to adopt it. And as that starts to happen, yes, there are smaller players that'll get into it, but you'll start to see larger nations actually buy some, even just to hold in reserve, just so they have it. And that will create a cascade that's very interesting. I always say Bitcoin is a great sign for sort of seeing what the tides are like in the cryptocurrency community. I think there's some better mechanisms out there, some better controlled items, but it's interesting to see whole nation states now showing faith in the idea of digital currency.
But Bitcoin is definitely the market leader, right?
Oh, for sure. It has the largest supply. It's the largest sort of buy-in worldwide. Market cap, if you will. I always tell people it is, if you're buying Bitcoin as some sort of investment vehicle, just know you're really buying into an idea.
Yeah.
It's funny to me when you watch a huge swing like that. It was down 19%, and then it went up about another 10%. It's like, talking about a 30% swing in a day.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of volatility, a lot of risk. I myself don't hold any Bitcoin, but I have some other cryptocurrencies that I like a little better. But I always say I love the idea of it. I like the sort of decentralized model that hey, they can't just print more of them because we decide we want to spend another $7 trillion in a year, and then stuff's getting more expensive. I wonder why.
Yeah, stuff's getting more expensive. Inflation. I mean, the worst is yet to come. When it comes to what our government's done, and the irrational spending and the printing of money. I mean, and they're just and they wonder why the unemployment rate's down where it's at too.
Yeah, the employment in those sorts of economic issues. While the government doesn't have direct control over that, it sets the tone and the policy for things. And your previous guest was actually talking a little bit about that fiduciary responsibility and trying to minimize your losses through insurance and realizing the total sunk cost of buying a property. And this generation, I feel like, is more lenient than any previous generations that I've seen. So I'm 40. So for me, it was really drilled in, fiscal responsibility, and at least that idea, at least the idea of trying to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right, Nate.
These guys, I've seen more money written in the last 5 years than in my whole life put together, and you're like, well. Where does that all come from? Well,
there's some stat about that. I think it was a stat recently, like this last year and a half or so. We created more currency that was in circulation than whatever the number is. It's some crazy number going back 50 plus years or whatnot. And then they wonder why. So you're incentivizing people to stay at home, not go out. So then you got contractors looking for job, applicants, people to fill these jobs, and you got that revolving challenge of then the consumer pays more for the product or service.
Right.
So it's really bad leadership either way you look at it.
Totally agree. And the saddest part to me is that the average American thinks that it's coming from somebody else, but the reality is every time they print money, that money is actually coming out of your bank account, out of your savings. The post-tax money. I mean, you've already taken the haircut, you've made it there, you finally put that dollar in the bank, and then they go write another check, and now that dollar's worth 95 cents. It's a sad thing. Hopefully somebody wakes up about it.
If you just joined us, we're talking with Nate Ginter here on the program, Chief Technology Officer at Vine IT. He's our technology expert for the Consumer Quarterback Show, VineIT.com. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And interesting too, we kind of teased about this before the show. We were talking about it. Let me play a quick clip here about what the Chinese are doing to their children when it comes to gaming.
Sure.
Kids under the age of 18 will now be forbidden from playing video games during the school week. They'll be allotted 1 hour of playtime from 8 to 9 p.m. on weekends and national holidays, but that's it. There was a previous law in the books since 2019 that had restricted kids to 90 minutes of gaming per school day and 3 hours per day on the weekend, but that law was more lightly enforced, and from what we're told, this new law will be enforced more seriously by the state.
So what kind of enforcement are we actually talking about here?
So we'll have to wait and see a bit to know for sure, but from what we're told, the Chinese Communist Party will be counting on internet service providers and tech companies to track the playing time of individual.
So the ISPs are going to track these individuals' playing time, and the kids under 18, 1 hour, 8 to 9. It's crazy.
I will tell you, in my household growing up, between me and my little brothers, there would have been quite a revolt there. So they've already, interestingly enough, instituted something that I find way more offensive, which is their social credit score.
Oh, yeah.
So they're doing so. If you can imagine everything that you do in your private life being tracked and monitored, whether it's gaming or what your interaction was like at a Starbucks or anything like that, maybe you're just having a bad day. These things all being used as potential metrics when you go to get a job. Which, to my way of thinking, what you do in your private life is private, and it's your business.
Should be.
So under the Communist Party rule, they are taking it very seriously that your whole life is up for grabs and up for monitoring and should be used in scrutiny of getting work. And I think it's it's already a difficult enough life to navigate your professional life without all of those things. And I think a lot of times we see even things like looking up people's credit scores, everything, before they can apply for a job. There's a lot of people that are going to be hurt by it that don't need to be. So when I see something like that, I tell people the future is now. Our government would love to be able to do things like this. We have a little thing called freedom in this country and liberty that hopefully
for a little while longer at least.
for as long as that lasts.
Yeah.
But we're only ever one disaster away. If you look at all the things that they're actually allowed to do under the Patriot Act, existing law, they just choose not to do them.
Yeah.
But they're actually legal. Warrantless wiretapping and pulling every piece of data that comes and goes out of your home internet connection, which they are legally allowed to do with minimal suspicion, or even just saying, "Hey, we think you're weird."
And they've been caught. They've been caught doing it, targeting certain conservatives or whatever.
Well, that's the other part that's super scary is they can barely keep a hold of the data that they already have. There's endless stories online about government leaks of data and the millions of people that they've affected. With 24-hour surveillance on somebody's activity, I worry very much about, I don't worry about the best case scenario. I worry about the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is, what if you have a stalker that wants to get a hold of the patterns, what you like to do? Well, now they know, what times you're typically going to be in a place and doing certain things. And it can be very scary. So my official response as a cybersecurity person would be no to all that. It sounds nice to be able to track your kids' activity. By the way, there's already things out there that let you do that as a parent and let you limit that screen time.
Yep.
I was actually at a poker game on Saturday where my friend was like, my son just requested, he has his iPhones and his Android tablet all linked into one. And so he knows exactly how much it shuts off automatically. Yep. And I think that's the parents' purview, not big government for sure.
That's right. Absolutely. Local control. The more local control in the household, in the city, in the state, and then out to the state and then the federal government. Mm-hmm. But definitely not. They're overstepping there. We're going to take a quick break here. We got Nate Ginter in the house, Chief Technology Officer at Vine IT. If you run a business, if you have needs or concerns in that area, definitely highly recommend talking to Nate Ginter. Very knowledgeable in all areas of technology, website, cybersecurity, all that good stuff. So more with Nate after this break. Plus our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this live music venue that's serving meals to New Orleans residents that are without power. And we'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. Innovation with radio, TV, and internet marketing. We feature our real estate listings to help our sellers profit more and sell faster. We've got some great listings here in Tampa Bay. How about 4125 West Nassau Street in Tampa? This is a great opportunity for an investor. $425,000 ask price. Great Airbnb property. You could rent this out, make a lot of money, make a killing on it. Right here, it's close to the International Plaza, close to the airport. Completely reconstructed, new, beautiful home here at 1,600 plus square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, upgraded kitchen, upgraded countertop, brand new AC, plumbing, and electric. Great opportunity for real estate investment here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, every day we tell you something positive here.
Tell me something good.
All right, so this is in New Orleans, live music venue serving free meals to residents who have been without power since Hurricane Ida swept through the city. And Howie Kaplan owns the Howlin' Wolf, a live music venue known for bringing people together. He's quoted as saying, "We take care of each other, and I think in a way nobody else does," Kaplan told the news. Local restaurant markets were unable to keep their food cold, and they have donated truckloads to the cause. And he says, quote, we just didn't even think about it," said Mike DeSimone, CEO of Link Restaurant. We jumped right in and started cooking, and because that's what we do, helping people out. Right now, it's not about the money; it's about helping people. So there's our feel good story of the day out of New Orleans. I love how people come together in those situations after a major storm or some type of a disaster. Americans come together. That's great. Love that. All right, we got Nate Ginter in the house, Chief Technology Officer at Vine IT. So next up, we got an interesting story here as well. Latest cybersecurity threat: pay us or we release the data. This is out of the WSJ. Ransomware attacks are increasing in frequency. Victims' losses are skyrocketing, and hackers are shifting their targets. So. What are you seeing in that space?
So, it's really interesting. I mean, ransomware has actually been around for quite a few years now, and the one of the issues that you have, aside from the disruption to your business, which as soon as your machines get crypto lockered, they basically become useless, other than the few places that they want you to go to actually pay the ransom on any of the given machines. So you've got that downtime you got to worry about. Hopefully, you have a good backup of that data that you can do a restore. Right. If anybody out there is curious about your posture, give us a call at Vine. We go in and we do security audits, whether or not you're working with another IT professional or not. Always good to have a second look at your systems, make sure things are actually protected for you in the event of that. I do that, for companies like literally every week. But one of the things that's interesting about the latest sort of cybersecurity threats that are emerging from, especially in the ransomware community, is they're not just trying to hold you for ransom anymore for operational purposes or getting your data back. They're actually saying that they're going to release that to the public, which there is, there's always a potential breach when you have ransomware, but that doesn't. Those two things are not necessarily synonymous. You can have a ransomware attack where you can have a reasonable assurance that data has not gone anywhere public, and there's different firms that you can hire to actually kind of try to confirm that even on the dark web. But the new attacks that are out there are really designed around not just quickly locking your data, but also pulling the important pieces out.
Wow.
And they're saying, hey, if you're a law firm or you're a mortgage broker, hey, we're not just trying to disrupt you and get you to pay us to get back moving. If you don't do that, or you even restore from a backup and you get your operations back to normal, yeah, good for you. You're still going to pay us, because if you don't, we're going to release that information publicly, and we're going to say that it was your poor security practices that let that information get out there.
Wow.
So it's really a reputational hijack as well as a functionality one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for sure, well, one of those things I try to tell everybody, I'm like, and it's an old maxim, but it is very true. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound to cure. You'd rather pay to have your systems double checked than let something happen to you. And God forbid, there's knock on wood, on our managed services side for helping our clients out in IT. We've seen less than a handful over the last few years, but boy, if you don't have the right protection mechanisms in place, they can get really, really nasty.
Yeah, it's almost like any industry. You think about it from a, let's say, just for example, your homeowner's insurance, right? Or your tax returns, right? You get a review there, and you might find, in the case of taxes, you might find money. Hey, the CPA didn't know about this loophole. There's a way I can save money. I can file this form. Similar here with Nate Ginter, Vine IT. He can help you do a review on your technology, whether maybe even at your home. If you just have a small home-based office, or even one-off system, you can check that. Make sure you're not opening yourself up. Because here's another one I heard of today, this past week. What these perpetrators will do, these criminals, these scoundrels, what they'll do is they'll create a video call. So you can do that through Messenger now. You can do it through your iPhone if you have the FaceTime application, and then they capture the image of your face, and then they put that on porn videos, and then they hold you ransom, and they send it there. we're going to send it to your friends and family. I mean, how nasty are these people?
Oh, I always say that people will do a heck of a lot of work not to go to the office every day.
Yeah.
There's some of these companies, what people don't realize is, so things like cyber extortion and the deep fake sort of extortion that you're talking about, they're illegal here.
Yeah.
So, ostensibly, you don't have entire companies being run that specialize in doing that sort of thing. In a lot of Eastern Bloc nations, it's not only legal, it's also encouraged. It's places especially places like Estonia that don't have the traditional, friendly attitude towards America. You can literally go into, a local office park and you will see, rows of dudes sitting there with headsets that, what almost seem like a tech support company, but they're the exact opposite. They're actually legitimately employed, with filling out their equivalent of a W-2 every year. Yes, I am a cyber extortionist, and it's not illegal in their country.
Wow.
So there's good people and bad people, just like every other industry in the world. But the sad part is, unfortunately, anytime that you invent a new lock, there's somebody who figures out how to pick it.
Real quick, we're running out of time, but I want to get to this last story. Cyber experts seek clarity on NIST supply chain framework.
Sure. So this one is a little bit more of a niche story, but long story short, anybody who is in the government supply chain, whether it's Department of Defense or any of those things, there's actually a new framework that the president has actually asked them to create. That's going to go out there to ostensibly make things more secure along the whole way. Think Keystone Pipeline, but not just Keystone themselves. Anybody who might be a vendor for them. Even the water guy bringing in their stuff. So if you happen to run a business where you fall into that, please give us a shout. We actually have a lot of clients that do defense contracting or other government contracts that we can help make sure that you're meeting those requirements and signing off on those things appropriately. Don't just count on insurance paying out if something bad happens. It's frequently nowhere near what you think it's going to be.
Right, and they look for ways to get out of those claims.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They sure do. Reach out to the hotline. We'd love to put you in touch with Nate and his team over at Vine IT, vineit.com. You can reach out to our hotline, 813-750-0550. You can text the word technology or Vine IT to 813-750-0550, and we'll put you right in touch with Nate Ginter, Chief Technology Officer at vineit.com. And these are all relevant ideas. These are things that people would need to be proactive about. It's a common theme for our show: proactive, being proactive, and then also getting a review. If you want to get a review, that's something that most people should do.
100%. And we always give free consultations out too. Even if you have a quick question or anything that you wanted to look at what the process is like, reach out to us. Always happy to give a little free advice where we can, and try and put people on the right path to securing their business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hey man, good stuff, man. Always a pleasure speaking with you. That China segment too with these people, they're overreaching, man. It's crazy, and I hope our government doesn't follow.
They're today, here tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of other countries, Australia, some interesting stuff happening down there. Took the guns years ago, putting the kids through a soccer stadium style injection. Just unbelievable what's happening in the world. Hopefully folks are wising up, getting involved and getting on the right side here. So, hey, another great show. I want to thank our team behind the scenes putting the program together. I want to thank attorney Patrick Smith as well as Nate Ginter for coming in today. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.